A couple months ago, I sold my Canon 5D Mark IV and bought a Fujifilm X-Pro 3. And since making that decision, I have been considering going Fujifilm all the way. But there's this little voice nagging me saying, oh, what if you switch from Canon? You started on Canon. And Canon's saying, don't leave me. I don't know if you guys experience the same thing, but when you get a camera and you learn how to use the camera and you learn photography on that camera, you become like loyal to that system. And I sort of feel that way with Canon. If you don't feel loyal to your cameras, good for you. And we shouldn't be attached to them. They're tools, right? They're tools to help us make photos. It's not about the gear. I love the Fuji system so much. It's not completely new to me. I had an X-Pro 2 once upon a time, but I never shot any professional work with it. But since getting the X-Pro 3, I've shot some professional work with it. And one of the big things that I wanted to test before really entertaining this idea of switching to Fuji completely was how the Fuji compared to the Canon in a studio portrait setting. You have to just look at these pictures. Let's take a look. So just comparing the colors straight out of camera. So the film simulation on the Fujifilm was Pro Neg standard, which is what this preview is showing me here. So the colors are a little bit different than they are on the Canon. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show you here in Capture One in the curve adjustment, we can change the film simulation. So if we move it to something like Astia, maybe, it'll just warm up the photo a little bit. So they're looking pretty good, right? The colors of the Fuji look beautiful. Canon looks really great as well. Let's zoom in here to 100% on both of these and see what we get. Now, she's a little bit further away in this shot than she is in this shot, so that affects it a little bit. But you can see right away, like they're both really sharp. The Canon has a little bit more detail. You can see more of her pores. It just has a little bit of a punch that the Fuji doesn't. Let's go ahead and move into 200% on both of these. And again, like the Canon has a little bit more crispiness. Not that the Fuji isn't sharp, I mean look at it, it looks great, but the Canon just has a little bit of an extra layer of detail that the Fuji doesn't. But guys, what I'm saying is, like, does this matter? I mean, look at this. Like, this difference is so minute. If you just look at the images normally as they are, they look great. You can't really tell a difference. And honestly, the colors in Fuji and the film simulations you get with Fuji are enticing me to go with Fuji. Let's take another look. This is a different lighting setup. Let's again change this curve to Astia, so they're a little bit similar in their colors, and let's zoom in. So here's the Canon, and here's the Fuji. So these shots are really similar, right? Exact same lighting, a similar focal length, the 50mm 1.2 on the Canon, the 35mm, which is roughly 50 millimeters on the Fuji. These shots are so similar, and this is especially amazing that the Fuji is just giving you this good quality of images when you consider that the Canon lens is about 3 times as much as this little Fuji lens. And I mean, the quality you're getting is just outstanding. Let's go into 200% here, same here. Again, these are straight out of camera, just with that little color adjustment that you saw me do. You can barely tell a difference. I mean, even zoomed in at 200%, there's a little bit of crispness, a little bit more detail here in the Canon. You can see it like in her eyelashes here and some of her eyebrows. But honestly, like, look at the Fuji. I mean, it's insane how much detail and how beautiful the Fuji files are straight out of camera. And when you compare the two side by side, you know, it really makes you question whether or not you need all that information that the full frame camera is giving you. Now, if you're gonna crop in, you know, all of your images to 200%, you know, maybe you want that extra bit of detail that a full frame sensor can give you. It might make sense though, if you're doing something like that, to move to medium format, where you have even more range to crop your images, you have even more information, because I just don't see enough of a difference for it to really matter here between the APS-C and the full frame. They're so similar and they both look so good. So we're gonna go ahead and close this session and open a new session. So we're in a new session here, and I'm just gonna show you, these are a couple images that I took of myself with a different lighting setup. These are on the 23mm f2 Fuji lens. So this is just an example of the amazing quality you get from Fujifilm. I've edited it here in Capture One. I've added some grain and some color and some punch. This is the classic neg film simulation, but like, look at this file. It looks absolutely beautiful. You may or may not like the actual photo of my face, but the file's amazing. Let's look at a before and after. Okay, so you can see, this is the raw file, right? Look at this. Let's zoom into 200%. The detail that you're getting from these Fuji sensors, it's insane. Like, I couldn't want anything more than this. You're getting this from a little camera with a cheap lens. It's just unbelievable. I was like blown away when I took these photos last night. Maybe you think I'm being a little bit dramatic or I'm over exaggerating here, but like, I'm just so excited and impressed with the detail. Like, it's just beautiful, the images that you're getting from these sensors. And it's not what I really expected from, you know, hearing all the internet talk about full frame and you need full frame and Canon and colors and blah blah. People, like, come on. What more do you need? I mean, it's just amazing. And let's just like look at some of these film simulations. I mean, look at how beautiful the colors are that you can get with Fuji film simulations. Like, this is why I love the system. So let me know what you think. If you switched completely, let me know how that experience was for you. There's so much online about the back and forth between switching systems, and I know you don't have to put yourself in one camp, but my whole thing is just, I love Fuji so much that at this point, that's the camera that I look forward to using, and those are the files that I look forward to editing. Yeah, so anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, give it a like. That really helps me out. I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Bye.